Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Oh, she's still here?
Sorry?
She's still here?
The
Your
cat.
cat?
Again. Not still, but again.
Has she registered for webinar?
We'll see. She'll just join me.
You are not supposed to share link.
Yeah.
Generated only for you.
Exactly.
You have shared with her any link. Let her register.
Exactly.
And you have taught her ABC and everything now. So she is a literate cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
that one likes to stick with me to everything I do.
yes, I was about to say that. She's always around you.
Yeah, that's true.
Are you facing some skin dryness?
No, I have some new tattoos and I have to take care of them.
Yeah. I was like, I sent that message to 4-5 new people.
Okay.
And no, I think around 10 people and 5-6 have registered from them.
Okay.
Have you seen?
I think we have 26 registrations now. So
yes. And let me tell you one more thing, Pina. This time what is happening? See, these 3 speakers, including me, we have not registered. So psychologically, that number...
I know. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Oh,
I know
that. Here, it's very cloudy, this part of the India. How is there?
Here it's raining as well.
Oh, it's raining as well?
Yeah.
Okay. But it is humid and hot here. But I hope there it is still cold.
It is. I mean, actually, it's not that good anymore because we have, supposedly it will be snowy tomorrow again.
Huh.
And that's really bad because of the nature, because the spring already started and everything. Huh. Plants started to grow and everything, and now the snow will come once again and everything will freeze. So it's not the best thing.
How are you living somewhere near a village or outside the city?
No, in the center, in the center of the capital.
No, because it is maybe that the whole city is like, it's like not very crowded, it looks like, because I saw one picture of your terrace, I think, where I could see mountains, trees, and I was thinking, I thought maybe she lives a little away from the city.
No, we live in the center of Ljubljana, of the capital. But here it's also true that Ljubljana only has 300,000 people.
300,000, and I mean, I'm sure that the city side must be pretty big because it's a capital city.
Yeah, but I mean, I can, if I walk around the town, I can be from home to the end of the city in an hour.
Okay, so it means in an hour on bike or car?
No, walking.
Okay, then it means the area should not be more than periphery wise, I think 10 kilometers, not more than that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but I mean, especially regarding India, it's not a big, it's not a big city.
I can understand. See, I can understand. Europe is geographically very compact, and but I'm really surprised to see the picture that you shared. There were mountains, very beautiful mountains. Were they Alps? Those mountains were Alps?
Oh yeah, they were. Oh, but those pictures were not from my hometown.
Acha, okay.
That was somewhere else. That was in another part of Slovenia.
But those pictures were of Alps.
Yeah.
That is why. Very beautiful, very beautiful part.
Yeah. But you can also see the Alps from the center of Ljubljana. So you can also see them. It's a really nice. When I go to the office, it's the view from my office. Out of the windows, you can see the Alps.
You go to office. Which office do you go?
So I mean I work with a media agency.
Right.
So every now and then I go to the office. I mean, mostly I work remotely, but every now and then I go to the office.
Okay. So what exactly do you do? What is your profile over there?
So mostly I work with social media, but not the content, but the ads behind it.
Okay.
So the media part of, the advertising part of social media. And then also a bit with, with television or radio or print, something like that. But the majority is social media.
Social media. Very good. Very good. So is it sort of internship or it is like full-fledged job?
No, it's a job.
The job. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good. But you did your graduation in media.
Sorry?
Which subject did you do your graduation in?
So right now I'm working my master's on marketing and sales.
So Miha seems to be connecting.
Yeah.
I'm meeting him first time. Have you met him before?
Yeah. Yes. Hey, Miha.
Ciao.
Hi, Miha.
Okay, it's nice to hear you.
We can hear you as well. We just don't see you yet.
Yeah, it will be.
Okay.
Oh, okay, nice.
Hi, Miha.
Good, it works. It looks like.
Great.
Hi.
Good to see you. Good to meet you, Miha.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
And nice to see your beautiful house also. Your beautiful, I think it's a tree house that you have built.
Yeah, it's a side effect. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so Miha, which part of the Slovenia are you living?
More towards east, even though it's still like central east. It's 1 hour drive from capital. From capital, you go towards east for another hour or 45 minutes.
I see. Okay.
Do you know the shape of our country in this?
I have seen the map.
Oh, okay.
Of course, I have never got chance to visit Slovenia. I would definitely love to after this lockdown, when this lockdown is over. But I got some idea about the geography of Slovenia, and that's what I was discussing with Pina. I never knew that Alps also happen to be part of Slovenia as well, because I thought it's only Switzerland and France and in few other parts. Yeah, so here joins Vojtech.
Hello.
Hi, Vojtech.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
So Vojtech, please let me know what is the correct pronunciation of your name.
Vojtech.
Vojtech. Okay.
Yeah, Vojtech.
Okay, Vojtech. It is easy then. Because yesterday I was listening to different pronunciation of your name. And
okay.
Somebody was saying Vojtech, somebody was saying Vojtech.
Yeah, correct is Vojtech. Like usually English speakers go for Vojtech because of the J, but Vojtech.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we would be thank you so much for joining 10 minutes before, because we always prefer our speakers to be here in case there are anything needs to be discussed, then we can always discuss, and both parties are sure that okay, they are comfortable.
And could you just, so if you have any PPTs, could you just try to share them so that we can see if everything works?
Yeah. You see that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, works, right?
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Just don't bother with me. Just keep going.
Hello.
Testing.
Oh, hi, Violeta.
Hey, hey, Miha. Hey, Vojtech.
Hello.
So, ma'am, would you like to speak 1 or 2 sentences before I start, or shall I?
If you want, I'm at your disposal because I saw you put it in the schedule, but it's up to you. If you need me, I will, but I'm okay if I'm just a listener.
Okay. Okay, then you can always say 2 sentences. That would be good to start with.
2 sentences only.
Yeah.
Okay.
3. You can also say as many as you want. It.
So, Miha, are you going to walk us around your house? I see that you are in your tree house.
I can try. The only thing that might be is connection, because this spot that I have found now is somehow tested, and usually when I move around, it doesn't. But we can try. Maybe I can give a little bit of talk, which is easier and will work, and then when the energies will be nice, maybe it will uplift also for some technical support.
Is that okay with you, Ranji?
Yeah, absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine.
Because I haven't seen it yet either. So I'm about to go and pay a visit because I'm really curious about the house that he built in a tree and lived through the winter in. I mean, this is amazing.
Ma'am, I think the very purpose of this session is to move from theory to practical. So what would be better than this if we could see the live example of something?
Exactly.
Because the whole idea is to make it look like a workshop, a pragmatic one instead of a theoretical one.
And all 3 are excellent choice because they're all hands-on practitioners.
Yeah.
Really good. Super. Okay, just keep going. I'll be back in a minute.
Sure. Vojtech, congratulations on a new addition to your family.
Thank you.
I hope both mother and child are doing well.
Yeah, it's all well.
Okay. So, I mean, it's first child, second child?
First.
First child. Okay, so you
It's
have
first
become
one.
father. Good.
Yeah.
Great feeling. Yeah. Great. So you used to run a restaurant in Philippines or some part of
Cambodia.
Yeah. Okay.
Cambodia, yeah. I've been there like three years ago.
Right.
Yeah, I might talk a bit about that. And I won't be able to be on the call until the very end. Is that okay?
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I mean,
Yeah, I just finished my talk, and if there's any
we
questions.
always want speakers to stay here till the end, but if there is something very urgent, then you can always leave.
Yeah.
So here joins our third speaker with my name, Sangeeta ma'am. Sangeeta Gupta is here. Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. So Sangeeta ji, we can see you, we can hear you well. The only thing is I see your name on screen, my name on your screen.
So what do we do?
Okay, not an issue. Maybe because I shared the link.
Yes, you shared
my name. So either you can join by the other link that I sent you personally, the other link which Ecocivilisation generated.
Let it be. I think it's
okay. Fine, not an issue. let there be 2 Rajnivoras, not
right.
Or you can just you can also rename yourself.
How?
So if you click on your picture, I mean so if you go there are those 3 blue dots.
Yeah.
And if you click on them, you will see a rename set somewhere.
It says replace pin. Chat and replace pin.
Nothing else?
Nothing else.
Okay, then I'll try to do.
Please do it for me. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm not even visible now.
Wait, so
I go back and redo it.
I have renamed you now.
Okay.
Okay, yes, I can see your name, Sangeeta ji. Yes, I can see your name.
But I can't see you all anymore.
You only see one of us?
I can only hear you. I can't see you.
Whew.
One moment. Launch meeting. Open Zoom meeting. Leave and yeah.
Okay, but again, you are back with my name. Anyway.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Okay, so Sangeeta ji, we have with us Miha
Right.
from Slovenia, Vojtech from Slovakia, and Violeta ma'am from Slovenia, and Pina Maya, my co-host from Slovenia.
Greetings from India. Greetings from India, Delhi.
Greetings to you as well.
Yeah.
Greetings to you too.
Greetings.
Great to see you live.
Good to see you too. I'm really excited to know about this subject. You know, this is so dear to me.
Yeah, together today, we will add a new dimension to everything we've known so far about it. So
right.
very exciting.
That will really add value to my knowledge, you know. I'm looking forward to it.
And to all of us. You're bringing a new subject, new area. All of you. I mean, we haven't had a cook yet. We haven't had somebody who's, you know, building their own houses in the tree. We haven't had an artist and designer. That's great. I mean, it's really exciting. So good choices.
Okay, so I think we can wait for another couple of minutes.
So this is my second meeting with you, Rajni.
Yes, Sangeeta ji.
You can call me Sangeeta. It's okay.
Okay.
So just give me a green light when I can start letting.
Sure. So I think you must be able to see people joining in, Pina.
Yeah.
So once you see that we have sufficient number of people, then we can always start.
So people are joining in.
Okay, so let's wait for another 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So are we already on recording mode?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Pina, what we can do, I think we can start with housekeeping rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's start with housekeeping rules by Pina Maya.
So hello everyone and welcome to our next Ecocivilisation in Action event. So we will be streaming and recording this event. So the stream is happening on Facebook as well. So if you have any questions or that you want to add anything, please write in the comment box. If you have any questions that are meant for some specific speaker, please write their name next to it so that we can address it to the right person. But you will also be invited to raise the questions by yourself if wanted, or you can write them in the comment box. We would also like to invite you to share with us where do you come from. So please write that in the comment box so we'll see from which countries have we gathered here today. If anyone has any problems during the event with anything, please write to me and we'll try to solve them. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, if you want to raise a question after we invite you to do it, please unmute yourself, and you can also show yourself so that we can see and hear you. But otherwise, please stay muted so that we will be able to hear our speakers well. And now back to Rajni.
Thank you for briefing housekeeping rules, Pina. Hello, and I welcome you all to the 4th webinar of the year on circular economy on the topic, the implementation of circular economy at an individual level, which is being brought to you by Ecocivilisation in association with WAHWOMAN. My name is 𝗦𝗲𝗏𝗲𝗁. I'm founder of WAHWOMAN, and I am being joined by a renowned leader, founder and curator of Ecocivilisation, Honorable former Deputy Prime Minister of Slovenia, and EU Transport Commissioner Vojtech Vegh, and also being assisted by Pina Maya as co-host. As they say, knowledge is like bullets and action is like a gun. If you don't have gun, you can't do much with the bullets. To turn knowledge into action, we have invited 3 distinguished guests today in this session who are super creative and highly innovative and have integrated circular economy practices so well in their day-to-day life that the word waste exists no longer in their dictionary, and they are here to share their knowledge, their ideas as to how one can implement the concept of circular economy in daily life. Before we begin today's session, let me quickly share with all our viewers that we have already hosted 3 webinars on circular economy in past 3 months of the total 12 total webinars of the series, which are available to watch on the website of Ecocivilisation. We are organizing this series as part of our endeavors to create an awareness and sensitization drive to make a transition from take, make, use, throw mindset to something as sustainable as circular economy, wherein we intend to put across and reiterate the significance of circular economy, broadly addressing why bringing up circular economy and why bringing up this concept has become need of the hour, and how we can proliferate this concept not only at industrial level, but also at social and individual level. So let's start off this intriguing session by inviting Vojtech Vegh ma'am to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Ranji, and hello, everyone. It's really exciting to see how the community is growing and how we are tapping deeper and deeper, broader and broader into a subject that is affecting us all, and hopefully providing some tangible advices, best case practices, how we as individuals can contribute to this great idea of living in tune with the laws of nature in the future. What can we do? Because sometimes we feel a little bit too small in the face of big challenges, but through these stories, we learn that every single move counts and that the big change is always a combination of a lot of small steps. And this is one of the global challenges. It's not a country-based, it's not a continent-based, but it's a global. Pollution and climate change doesn't know the borders. That's why it's so important that we bring stories from all over the world, showing that with different types of practices, we can really make a difference. And through that, I think we are confidently together every month, stronger and stronger, moving out of the survival mode, out of even sustainable mode, to, as our dear colleague Alexander Laszlo would say, and I noticed that he is with us today as well, he would say we need to start thriving. We need to start getting into an action to thrive together. And that's what ignites me. That is the future I'd like to co-create. And I'm looking forward to hear these 3 amazing stories about the practical hands-on contributions from different parts of the world. Thank you, Ranji and Pina Maya, for bringing them to our screens. Back to you.
Thank you, Vojtech. And now we are all set to immerse in this action-oriented and practical session with our brilliant speakers. So without any further ado, let me introduce our first speaker of the day, Vojtech Vegh, joining us from Slovakia. Vojtech is a zero waste and plant-based chef who has gained his 10 years of work experience in some of the greatest restaurants around the world. In 2018, he opened his own zero-waste vegan restaurant, which happened to be the first of its kind at a time. After the closure of the restaurant, he moved back to Slovakia, where he now resides and works as a zero-waste chef and food waste consultant. He recently wrote his first book, Surplus, the Food Waste Guide for Chefs. Just can't wait to hear all about it from you, Vojtech. So over to you.
Hi, everyone. So, as you already know, I have opened the first zero waste and vegan restaurant in the world. That was back in 2018 in Cambodia. And as I work as a chef for over 10 years now, I always had a kind of a dream to open my own restaurant. And the more time I have spent in the kitchens of the restaurants, I realized that there is something seriously wrong with the system in the kitchen. And that is mainly due to the habits that we are taught and the kitchen culture, that treating ingredients as a product and not as something that was grown and something that need to spend the resources on. So there was like lots of waste that I wasn't okay with. So I had this idea of opening my own restaurant, of course. And the more and more time I spent working in the kitchen, I was very clear on the idea that it got to be zero waste as much as possible. So I spent about 2 years developing the idea and the concept of the restaurant and finding all suppliers and distributors in Cambodia. And I have opened the restaurant successfully. It happened to be vegan too. That was mainly by coincidence because there wasn't a good availability of products in Cambodia, of animal products. So as I used everything organic, local, bio and handmade, the restaurant was not only vegan in terms of food, but also in all the equipment and furniture and everything that was in the restaurant got to be vegan and zero waste too. So, but as shortly I had to move back to Slovakia, I was forced to do so for like family reasons. So I decided to close and sell the restaurant, unfortunately. But also luckily, I wouldn't like to be there in this situation right now. So massive experience. I have ever since moved on, now living in Slovakia, work as a zero waste chef and a plant-based consultant. And as this webinar is more like on an individual basis on what you can do at home and how to run the circular economy in terms of food in your home, in your household. So I will share my screen with you and I'm gonna walk you through with a few steps. You're supposed to see the slide now. So what you can do at home and how to reduce food waste at home and why is it important in the first place? It's simply because the food waste is a major issue. And I like to say that like food waste is one of the stupidest problems that we have. Like, like we grow the food, we put so much resources in it, and then we put it in a bin, especially after spending our money on it. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. Why would we do it? And there is a so-called food waste hierarchy for all the food waste in households. And from top to the bottom, from the best option that you can do all the time is always the prevention of the food waste compared to anything else. Like if you're not creating the food waste, that is the best option that you can do. That is the best thing that you can do with the waste. So you don't need to deal with it if you don't have it. And after that comes the recycling, which is basically reusing the items and reusing any kind of food parts or parts of ingredient or any cooked food that you can. So it's still better to eat it as long as it's safe to eat it rather than put it in a waste or in a compost. And because I believe that compost is not a solution to a food waste. It only should happen when once the food is not edible or it's not safe to eat or to use for the parts of ingredients that are not edible anymore. So if there is nothing else that you can do, then it's still better to compost it. Then the last option is landfill, basically. That is the worst option that we have, what we can do with the food, to put it in a plastic bin bag and discard it in a general waste. Because then there is lots of greenhouse gases created and it's just a complete waste. So if there is nothing else that we can do, then, I mean, we should avoid it. Like prevention is always the first thing that we should be looking at. How to avoid food waste, basically. There's 3 smart things that we can do. And the first thing is shopping smart, which means like, I like to say like, never go shopping hungry because you always buy more than you need, the more that you want. I like to write shopping lists. So I always kind of know what I'm going for when I go into shop. I do sort of a weekly menus at home, so I know exactly what I need to buy and what I'm looking at. So I don't just buy random stuff that I end up wasting. It's also planning ahead, not only in terms of shopping, but also in terms of cooking. And we all pretty much know like what we kind of want to eat. We have like a few backup snacks or something, but you don't need to like always stock, especially on fresh food. Because I also say, unless you live in like a very remote area, you most likely have like shop in a walking distance close to your home. So you can just basically just buy as you need. We tend to overbuy, especially pastry items and bread. One of the most wasted items in general in food. So just don't overstock on fresh food. Just don't overfill your fridge, and really just plan well what you're going to shop. And that is a massive change. Once you have your shopping list done, then that is really something that like saves you not only a lot of money, but also a lot of food from going to waste. The second smart thing that we can do is to store smart the ingredients once we buy it. Not every ingredient must be in a fridge, but some of them, again, must be in a fridge and not outside of the fridge. So commonly, people put like cucumbers and tomatoes are like two common items. They're also potatoes that doesn't require to be refrigerated, because they are not only taking up the space, but in a fridge they can also condensate quickly if they're in the bottom of your fridge, for example. And if you keep them outside, they also can ripe more, and just generally doesn't need to be in a fridge. And also one of the tips I would say, like, don't store potatoes and onions together too, because the gases from the onion make the tomatoes sprout faster, and then they gonna get rotten fast too. So when you're buying vegetables, sometimes, you know, like things like broccoli, especially, or cucumbers, are wrapped in plastic all the time. And if you really can't avoid that, like there is no other way to get the ingredients and wrapped in a plastic, then we should store it unwrapped. Like anything that can be unwrapped in a fridge, then it should be unwrapped too. Because again, mainly for the condensation, because once the water and the steam trapped inside the plastic wrap is gonna turn into water, and that really makes your vegetables or fruits go moldy and much faster, and get rotten too. Freezer is a massive thing, and freezer is your friend, is everyone's friend at home. Freezing food, or freezing fresh food and also cooked food, is one of the best ways to extend the shelf life or to preserve the food in general. Like my freezer is always fully packed with like all random stuff, all the things I buy. If I know that I have more bread than I can eat and I know I'm not gonna eat it, I just put it in a freezer, and then I figure it out later on. I always have it. You can toast it, you can breadcrumb it, you can do something with it. But freezer is a massive thing also for all the like vegetable peelings and like all kind of leftovers from vegetables, that if you happen to overstock, if you happen to have more than you can eat, or if you happen to cook more than you can eat, put it in a container, make sure it's closed, and just keep it in a freezer. And you not only have a backup food for when you need, but you're also extending the shelf life of the ingredient, and you have something on hand. And majorly, you're avoiding food waste, because freezer really is something that we use a lot in restaurants, but I also use a lot in a home. And storing food, like cooked food, in a fridge at home, the air circulation is one of the major things that why the food goes off at home. So if you have any airtight containers, or if you can buy yourself airtight containers, then that can extend the shelf life of your cooked food again by another 2 or 3 days at least. And it's a common thing on how we store ingredients in restaurant kitchens. Try to everything keep airtight as much as possible, and that is something that we can adapt to at our home too. So avoiding throwing away like cooked food and something that's really perfectly edible even after 2 or 3 days. But you know, if you just in an open container in a fridge, then it's just never gonna last that long too. Let's go. Third step is a third smart thing that we can do. Once you get to cooking, then it really is, if you are planned well, or if you know what you're gonna cook. I personally prefer to cook in batches, so I always cook like 2 or 3 different meals for a few more days. I keep it in an airtight container in the fridge, and then I have a choice of a few dishes, because I only eat home like once or twice a day, so that it's not a problem with me to eat like 4 days in a row and one meal. I'm happy with that. But if you can, or if you have a time for that, then cook small portions daily. If you enjoy being in the kitchen, if you have time to be in the kitchen, then you can do that too. But always make sure that you eat what you have in your fridge. You eat all the food that you cook. Just don't cook like more than you can eat, or if you know you don't like it, then just don't cook it. And my favorite of all of that is using all parts of vegetables and fruits and preserving ingredients. That is my biggest thing, that I think that something is always overlooked. And it's really something that most people don't even know about, like how many things or how many products that you can eat from the ingredients, and like what is safe and what is not safe. And for that reason, for example, things like a broccoli stalk or the broccoli stem contains like half of the weight of the ingredient. And if you throw it away, you basically double the price of broccoli. And the broccoli stem is perfectly tasty. It's perfectly fine to eat. There is nothing wrong with it. And most people just happen to throw it in a bin. So that is something that you can screenshot. And that is something that like you can use as a little guide in your kitchen. That is something I also talk about in my book on how to use each part of the ingredient. Something like cauliflower leaves is something that people usually throw away despite being very useful and very tasty. It's very similar to cabbage leaves. So you can use it in the same way, or you can just eat it raw. And same thing goes for a carrot and a parsley tops, because I always say that like carrot top has more carrot flavor than the carrot itself. So I always use carrot tops and always prefer to buy carrots with the tops on it whenever possible. And just making a simple salsa or pesto, or even just preserve it in a fridge and use it later in a freezer and use it later for a stock. There is something that can help you to like create more flavor basically from one ingredient, I'd say. And radish leaves have really nice like a spicy peppery flavor to it. So use it like a fried or sauteed or dehydrated and like ground it down to a powder, or just use it raw in a salad. As long as they are nice, of course, because like don't eat anything that's brown or yellow or it's going off, you know, like that is not helping. And root vegetable peels, like ideally don't peel the vegetables. That is the best thing that you can do. I don't peel potatoes anymore, even if I make a potato puree. We just get used to it. I don't peel carrots unless I have a specific reason to do so. But if you happen to peel it, or if you had to peel it for whatever reason, then I always have like a small container in my freezer where I collect all the root vegetable peels. And once it's full, I just throw it in a pot, fill it up with water, and make a simple stock from it. That is again like cooking from a waste, extracting flavor from an ingredient, and like not having a waste at the same time. And banana peels is something that like it's like almost natural to throw it away once you eat a banana, while the banana peel is completely edible. I always advise to use organic fruits whenever possible, and that should be the case, like ideally. But if you cannot, then just wash the banana peels really well. And if you chop it up, because it's really fibrous and stringy, blend it in a smoothie, use it in a banana cake, or I even dice it up and use it in a stir fry. And some people use it as a replacement for bacon. If you can just leave it in a whole piece and pan fry it, and add like garlic and paprika, salt and pepper to it, and 30-second pan fry, they say that it's like a very good replacement for like a vegan bacon, which I do agree with. I mean, it's something that's, again, you're cooking from waste, and that is really tasty. And, you know, pineapple skin itself is not edible, and the pineapple leaves are not edible too, but there is still flavor in it. The pineapple crown and the leaves I just discard in the compost right away, because I don't see any use for that. But the pineapple skin is like you can create the easiest ferments with it that you can do at home, which is called tepache. It's like a Mexican fermented drink. All you need to is just sugar and water. You just take like a skin of one large pineapple, put like 200 grams of sugar, cover the container with the water, leave it on your kitchen counter for like 2 days. And once it's foamy, you move it in a fridge, and that is it. That is basically, you're still gonna discard the pineapple skins in the end, but you have extracted flavor, and you have created yourself a healthy drink out of what would be the waste. And if you're not into fermented stuff, then you can just boil the pineapple skins with some sugar and water, reduce it down to a syrup, or make a stock or a tea kind of thing. Bread is like one of the, after potatoes, is the most wasted ingredient, food ingredient. We always happen to have more at home than we're supposed to. So my freezer is like packed with bread and all kind of pastry. And if you have like all the bread that you know you're not gonna eat, then why not just turn it into like small crackers that you can slice thinly, add some seasoning and a touch of oil to it, and just put it in your oven for like 180 degrees and 10 minutes, and you have a nice little crackers for it. Or make a croutons, which is like a very typical thing to do, and like breadcrumbs too. And if you like to experiment a bit more than a fried bread paste, just something that you can just pan fry. your bread and then blend it down with the vegetable stock and add a touch of seasoning to it, like salt, pepper, or mustard, anything you prefer. And you basically made a spread. So I do spread my bread on my bread because I mean, it actually happens to be tasty. So, you know what I mean? Like, why not? And I always just say, like, eat everything. Check your fridge regularly. Always happen to have more food than you need. Like, check all the labels, check all the dates that you have on it, and make sure you eat it. You can even make like a separate place in your fridge where you're gonna put like everything that is about to expire, and you know that you need to eat it that day. So you actually organize your fridge well, and you know that what is in there. Because the ultimate solution to food waste is, how I always say, is like to eat it. There is no other solution than eat it. Because if you don't eat it, I mean, it's gonna be wasted. We grow food, we distribute food, we buy food for the human consumption, not for composting, not for something else. It's always for eating. So that would conclude my very short presentation of like, eat basically all the food that you have. Rajani?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Vojtech. I thought you want me to share something. So I was like, okay, what is in my fridge? Thank you so much for such a thought-provoking presentation with wonderful tips, especially incorporating the use of rind, tails, seeds, which constitute some 25 to 30% more overall of these unprocessed vegetables and fruits. So,
Yeah.
Vojtech, I have a question for you. Do you have any piece of advice for expired processed food product that we generally have and we have no option but to throw it in trash?
If it's expired in terms of not being edible, not being safe for consumption anymore, then that is food waste right there. I mean, you don't eat it. Like never compromise health and safety for saving food, because that is counterproductive, you know. Like, we should always, this is what prevention is important, to keep things in place and everything organized. So it's not gonna be expired, because once it's expired, there is no saving it. You're not even supposed to try to save it. That is like off, that goes to the bin.
Right. So you mean to say that once a food is processed, which has gone expired, we have no other option. I mean, we can't even use it, putting anywhere, you know, it's like the real waste.
There are some food products, like for example, in supermarkets, which are after the expiry date, but they are safe to eat. But we need to be sure that they are safe to eat. If it's like a packaged thing, like long shelf life, like, I don't know, oils or chocolates or confectionery items and all these things, why not? But that is up to legislative things and up to the law in each country. Because if you happen to have it at home, absolutely go for it. I eat expired chocolates. I buy expired drinks. Because I know they are safe to eat. But expired fresh food, and you know, like, it also depends like how long they've been expired for. Like, if it's like 5-year-old, then I mean, yeah, you're not gonna eat that. But if it's like a few days after and the supermarkets have to destroy it or discard it, there is a massive thing. There is something big that, but you need to change the law for that. You know, if you are as an individual and if you happen to have it on hand, and I always say, like, smell it and taste it and look at it. Like, if you're gut feeling it, if you don't feel like it's edible, then that's no, just don't push it. But if you see like there is nothing wrong with that piece of chocolate or a cake or I don't know, or bread or something, because it's a day-old bread. I just bought like a 3-day-old bread in a supermarket the other day for a very discounted price, because why not? And I made a croutons from it. You know, like, because I see there is no mold in it. I seen it's in a perfect shape. I didn't mind it. I just saved some money and saved some waste too. But if it's something that you're not sure about, then that is the first sign. If you're not sure, then don't do it.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and sharing these splendid tips again, Vojtech. And before we move on, let me ask all participants or even speakers if they have got any question for you. So I think most of the ladies are fond of cooking. So if anybody has any question, please feel free to ask, because Vojtech may not be here till the end of the session. So we request all participants to write question in the comment section if they have got any question pertaining to food or how to use leftover food.
So we got actually one question. I'll read it out loud. From Alexander, saying that there are so many types of diets, macrobiotic, paleo, etc. Do you recommend any type or another, or make sure not to eat one type?
You know, I'm almost vegan, so I don't like to eat meat and other animal products too. So I would naturally advise people to go plant-based whenever possible. You don't have to be fully vegan. Just reduce your meat consumption. Other than that, like diets, if you have a health reasons for that, or if it's your choice, I mean, just you eat what you want and I eat what I want. You know, so if you are sure that it's good for your health, then you do it, eat it. You know, not doing anything wrong with it. Just really look out for like bad quality meat or animal products. Like something I always say that meat should be looked at something like a luxury or a delicacy. I have a meat when I'm sure that I have a good quality and or high quality organic local produce on my hand, and that I like to treat myself with such a product rather than looking for a cheap meat on a daily basis, which is just not worth it. I'd instead spend that money on like a good quality vegetables or fruits or some other products. But you know, like avoid eating cheap meat whenever you can, because that is like not only bad for you, but it's like terrible also for the planet.
Thank you so much, Vojtech. Thank you so much for being here. And
thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about that topic, because you know, it's like really important.
Thank you so much. Pleasure having you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So moving on with our next presentation, as they say, waste doesn't exist in nature because ecosystems reuse everything that grows in a never-ending cycle of efficiency and purpose. And our next speaker, who is joining us from India, also has the similar belief. Above all, being an abstract artist, poet, and a writer, her creative mind flies really high. She's here to share with us some great practices, ideas, and tips. Please welcome our next speaker, Sangeeta Gupta, who is a Delhi-based bilingual poet, writer, artist, and filmmaker. She recently retired as Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. She has to her credit 35 solo exhibitions of painting, 25 published books, including 14 anthologies of poems in Hindi and 6 in English. 10 of her collection of poems are translated in German, Greek, Mandarin, English, and other Indian languages. She has directed, scripted, and shot 17 documentary films. 7 of them are in the collection of Library of Congress, US. So over to you, Sangeeta.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajni, for your kind words. How can I be full screen? How do I become full screen? Can you do that for me? Am I audible now?
Yes.
We don't.
Yes, very much visible and audible both. So
okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, friends. This is a multitasker, Sangeeta Gupta from Delhi. As Rajni has said, that I'm keenly interested in poetry and art, and as well as making documentary films. Today, I'll be focusing my, the way I do recycle my waste products and use it as a art material or convert them into art pieces. So let me say, every artist, when we mix colors, then there is a palette. So when I use a plate as a palette and mix my colors, and subsequently I realized that, after that, they are not usable because the thick layers of paint, it makes very, very difficult to make new combinations and mixtures of paints for the canvas to be painted. So I decided to make them as plates, a piece of abstract art. I'll show you how I do it. This is the plate. Can I show these things? No?
Yes,
so
sure.
This is a small plate where I was using my colors, mixing my colors to put it on the canvas or paper. Subsequently, I realized this itself is a piece, abstract piece, a good piece of art. So I just maneuvered it a bit and made it a piece, which I can gift it to my friends, or I can sell it also. So this is what I did, and I use a stand to keep it. So it looks very beautiful this way. It's a stand on which you can keep this plate. And this, instead of throwing these plates, I make them as art pieces and gift it to my friends and also sell it. I'll show you another piece because sometimes I use bigger plates to mix my colors. See this plate? So this is an abstract painting, and I use another stand which is a little bigger than that and put it here, and it looks like this. You can just keep it on your table or wherever you want. So this is the way I have used the waste. Otherwise initially I used to think that it can't be used and you just have to throw it. But subsequently I realized why throw it, and why we cannot reuse it or recycle it into something beautiful and as an art piece. Then I have done, I had some mugs which I used to, you have to put water and mix your colors, and after that, after some time you don't feel like using them. Then I have done abstract paintings on these mugs also, and these are good gifts to my friends, and they really relish it. They always say that please give it to me, at least it can be used as a they can keep their pens, brushes and other things, palette knife and all, because artists do need lot of things to hold, the brushes and the other things. Like I use it as a brush holder, and also I keep my pens here. I'll show you another piece, because after some time, the mugs become old, and then once you paint it, and then I paint it always, all sides, and make it a reusable pen holder or a brush holder. These are the things which I do. Then let me show you a big piece. This is an olive oil container, which I made it in a big piece. This is the way I use it, and I have painted all way because this was a olive oil container. But after that, it's a tin and it can't be used. I have made a stand for it, and it can be put on the wall. And this is the painting is all sides, and I've used textures and created this painting, and now it is an art piece. Otherwise, mostly we throw the tin after using the full container, the olive oil or whatever. Then this is again a container which was used for keeping things, and after the liquid is over, you just throw it off. So this is a refined oil container which I have painted, and it can be a piece of art. So let me show you another bottle where, this was again a bottle where I have painted and created an art piece. This looks, these are very much admired by my friends and my fans. They say that I have done a whole series of bottles, and I'll do an installation with that, that bottles can be recycled. Even beer bottle and wine bottles I have painted, and they can be installed in a good art piece. And this is a box, and after using the product which is kept inside, you generally throw the box. This is a wooden box which I have painted from all sides, even the back, and inside is gold. You can keep a gift there, or you can use this box any way you like. So this is also a piece of art which can be gifted, or which can, I never throw my things, all boxes, all bottles. My son says you always keep things, but I like to convert them into, because these things can be reused and converted into art pieces. Art should be functional, and also art should, if we can create art from waste, then it is it gives me double joy, because I have not thrown things and I have reused them. There are many other things, like once a paper is wasted, you can really pulp it, remix it, and create a new texture of paper and reuse it, recycle it. Newspapers also, I am not showing that piece. I sometimes use Fevicol and newspaper and keep it for a few days, and then you can make an art piece, a sculpture, a paper sculpture from that. So I have also used textile, hand spun khadar to paint on that. And I have used indigo color, which is chemical free, which is not chemically treated, naturally extracted from plant. And I made a 200-meter long painting on that. And because of the COVID, I have not displayed it ever, but I'm looking for the right time to do that. And I would take it all over the world to show it, because the hand spun khadar, which is not made by machine, is weaved by hand by weavers. And then when you use indigo and do block printing, which is very famous in one of our states, Rajasthan, where block printing is an ancient culture. And now the block printers, because of the mechanized printing, they are out of job. But then I said, I can paint on them and make it more popular, and use it as an ethnic clothing. And hand spun khadar is such a beautiful fabric that it can be used in winters and also as well as in summers. Summers, it gives you a cool feeling, and in winters it keeps you warm. So that is the beauty of that fabric, and it is done by hand, and it can be washed by hand. And these fabrics are special to India. We always excelled in making our own fabric, and that is one of the best quality in the world. And Neil was also grown in India in a big way, and subsequently it was said that the land becomes infertile, but it is not so. Research has proved that it is not so. And using that indigo, it's a very ethnic, it's a great fashion in India, but mostly the jeans are made by that indigo color, but then chemically treated. One of the Indian company, Arvind Mills, makes those jeans with indigo color, but that is chemically treated. But I wanted to go against it and say that let's use the natural color without using chemicals. So I decided to promote the block printers, the handmade spun khadar, the fabric, and also the block printers should be revived. The block printing is a beautiful thing. So I made the longest painting in the world on 200 meters hand spun khadar, and it gives me joy that all three aspects of our Indian culture also is weaved together, and I intend to show them all over the world. Maybe it will happen someday. I'm happy to take your questions if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta, for such a comprehensive, engaging presentation with beautiful DIY artifacts that gave us a fair idea on repurposing, reusing, and recycling products, which we generally discard, thinking that they are of zero use now. But thank you so much for sharing all those artifacts. Sangeeta, I have a question for you,
Please,
which I always think, because I'm also very fond of DIY projects. So I often think that most of the times that when we make something at home, or we try to repurpose something, by making it kind of art piece, the way you have shown, we are often bothered about the lifespan, as well as the durability of that product, because either maybe we are not using right kind of gum to stick something properly, and after some time it comes off. It has some gap with ready-made product and with handmade product. So how can we fill that gap in terms of durability as well as sustainability?
I'm not sure about the quality of the glue, but now we get very, very high-tech glues which will stay forever, because I am making sculptures with glass and stone together. And my whole concept was that everybody says that glass and stone are enemies, they cannot be together. But I said they can coexist, stone and glass can coexist. And there I was using, araldite to fix on a glass piece. I've taken a granite stone, which is so heavy, and fixed it with araldite. Now you have very good quality of fixtures. which can fix even a stone on a glass. So I'm just giving an example that it is possible to get good fixes, and they are now available in the market, which you can use. The second thing is a piece of art, enjoy it till it lasts, but don't, unless instead of throwing it in the dustbin, if I use olive tin to make an art piece, and this will stay because this is hand painted, and it will last forever, because first I did a coat so that the junk doesn't come out, and then after that 2-3 layers, so that you just have to be a little judicious when you are taking a decision to recycle something which was supposed to be thrown away in the dustbin. So if you apply your mind a little bit and buy these stands can, these are easily available in the market, but once you keep an art piece on that, it really becomes a very useful thing. So that kind of thing. The glues are there. Now we have the best of the best quality fixtures.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Peena, if we have got any question for Sangeeta. Okay, not yet. I have one more question, Sangeeta ji.
Please.
And my question is, for example, say a twig of a tree.
Right.
We try to repurpose it. So
right.
We often bother about, termite attacking on it, or some kind of other insects or something. How do you preserve twigs?
If you want to use it and keep it as a, you want to display it, just put a spray. There are termite-free sprays now, which you can just spray it and keep it outside so that the smell goes away, and then it can be used. When I use this glass and stone sculpture, to give a base, I use MDF boards. So MDF boards are also now eco-friendly. There are green boards which are waterproof and termite proof. So you get these products, and also you can put a spray there and create your own termite-free twigs.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta ji. We request you to stay here till the end of the program.
I will. I want to hear.
Another interesting presentation coming up. So moving on to the next presentation, and my next guest reminds me a famous, beautiful poem, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. Let me recite a couplet because Sangeeta Gupta is also here. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and heath, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Please welcome from Slovenia, 𝗦𝗲𝗴𝗲𝗁 𝗏, who is passionate for facilitating transitions towards closer communion with nature. After finishing formal education, he followed an inner call to start breathing new life into an abundant ancestral farm, experimenting with a multitude of ideas of transitory movements and exploring a way towards an embodied expression of life that works for us and the planet. Permaculture, community living, deep practices of consciousness transformation work have guided him to build a tiny forest house. He cherishes living life in constant communion with the soul, certainly is inspired to bridge different realities into one. Welcome you, 𝗦𝗲𝗴𝗲𝗁, on show, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hello to everyone, and first thanks for this presentation and a poem, a cloud. It seems I'm just drifting with the cloud here. Yeah, I'm very happy and honored to be with all of you today, and also happy to this virtual reality. I normally don't, I'm not a fan of virtual connections, but every few and then it seems like the world can come into my place and we can merge our realities together. So in this way, it's nice to be here at my place, but at the same time connected with a multitude of people around. Maybe I can start with this to refer a little bit to the presentation and the topic at hand. One of the biggest inspirations for me in last years has been nature, or Mother Earth, as I call it. And when we are talking about maybe the topic of circular economy, for me it's all about cycles. And one of the first doorways for me to come into this nature topic was the system that is called permaculture. Yeah, that somehow taught me how to tune into these natural rhythms. Because what I'm just starting to realize now, as I'm growing into more connected way of life with nature, with forest, nature is so smart, abundant, intelligent. We just need to learn to listen to it, to her, and not try to create our ways and then trying to save it. You know, this is completely human mentality. We're going to save it. We don't need to save anyone. You know, nature has been here for so long, and it will stay. We can maybe tune a little bit into its intelligence and, yeah, share this short time that is a span of our human life that we are spending with her. So this might be maybe a short invitation or connection that I did by inviting the spirit of nature here, and going even more to the topic at hand. What was maybe mentioned there, and where I'm sharing the story today, is so-called tiny house in forest. So I'm literally sitting in the forest, but I'm under a roof. This used to be my home for the last 2 years almost now, and it's a place of a bigger ancestral farm. But yeah, in one summer I somehow decided, or I don't know, this idea is just kind of a birth within me, that the old house that was down and I partially renovated was quite busy. There was more of us living, and there were materials around, and I guess it's, you know, as a young boy, you always grow, you would do a tree house or something like this. So for me, this was a challenge, but not just how to do a tree house, but how to do something that can also support me while living here around, that can create my own space. So to me, it's just one element. You know, we are speaking here about the house, and the farm is way bigger, but this house might be one element that to me captures maybe the topic that we are talking about today. Because for me, the goal here was really to use the materials from forest. You know, I can say now, I don't know, maybe 90% of the materials are from forest. For the roof, I used some plastic, because yeah, sometimes the technology and modern things help us to preserve and actually to add a value to what nature offers us. So yeah, that's been maybe a story of this forest house that's been coming to me through my hands as a way of creative expression, and also as a way to just bring some essentials to the way of my life here. There was an invitation to also maybe share a little bit. We can do a live presentation, so I can do a hike around. But prior I do this, maybe I'm not also like in the spot where I am right now. I know that there is very good connection, so if it will stop for a while, it will come back, but around the connection is not the best. For anyone maybe more particularly interested in this topic, I can share. There is a lot of materials to be found. The technique that I used is called cob wood. So what I actually used for building this house is cob, which is the material from the ground, so soil that is rich in clay, and wood that is all around here in the forest. So that's how basically the walls, the structures, and also the inside is done. And these are again the materials that are available here at this space. You know, if you go around to other places, people build stone houses because they have stones around. but I feel to be deeply fascinated by wooden trees. Yeah, therefore, maybe prior that I embark on a journey, I can share a special element that I've also included in this house. You know, I have 4 live trees as the main pillars of this house, and this is for me, this I would call a very, very practical way of seeking a connection with nature elements, because these trees are live beings, and which means that in a structure that we have as a house, they can actually work as the opposite of what we would normally want. You know, I have no root in the house that can, where also some water might be coming in, but still there is this balance that I'm always seeking to find. How much do I want to go into the nature, take its essence away, and create the conditions that are good for me? So in this case, I went and keeping the trees and having their company rather than cutting them down and having a dead wood all around. Maybe this was just a little bit a sense of aliveness that I've tried to convey through my presentation, and to me, it truly shows what I'm deeply inspired about, this importance of tuning into the bigger cycles. Either it's a cycle of what we heard today so brilliantly of food, and how do we relate to our own food system, and how much do we relate and give things away. Either it's our creative expression, art, or for me it's life. You know, it's life. How can I be all the time connected in these various cycles, whether it's with nature, with people around, with elements, with materials? And yeah, maybe that's now for a brief theoretical and inspirational moments. And to make it a little bit more practical, I would move now with my phone a little bit out, so we can see in practice this element and how does this work. Okay. Now this is the first site. So I have the entrance in the forest, but maybe in the back there could be seen now as a design or as a main structure, which is this wooden locks and filled with cop. So I left this natural view as also the outer plaster layer. This is for me like this wall is, yeah, deeply shows the design. And if we go on the front, maybe it's where we connect with the outer life, with the meadow and our farm right there. But maybe here we could see this big oaks trees and house that is, yeah, put in between them. You are seeing many windows, so this is also like the way how architecture is done here. This is southern part that allows sun in due to the winter season when there are no leaves, and in summer, let's say when we have leaves from the trees, you know, there is no direct sun exposure, so it's also to some extent self-regulating due to the outer climate systems. Yeah, coming a little bit closer. Now I see better. Thanks for technical support. Yeah, now the last part I'm coming to is my hollow space in front of the house. A little altar. Usually there is also a garden, but we are still waiting for the proper weather to get. But here we can see more again now this connection, live tree and copwood technique as the way of then connecting it all together. Yeah, I guess that's maybe just as a brief tour. Now I would be headed back in. Yeah, and you could maybe see I really like circles or shapes, so that's why I keep all of this wooden round blocks, and the doors are in a shaped way. It naturally invokes more of this circular rhythm within me. Yeah, I guess that's it of the journey so far. I hope you could see some, or maybe at least feel the spirit of the place.
Thank you so much, Miha, for giving glimpses, sharing glimpses of your beautiful eco-friendly creation, your eco house. Indeed, very beautiful. And I wish each one of us could build such house. Actually, we could have afford to build such beautiful houses. Could you please give more insight into your collection of material? How did you collect so much material? Because it takes a lot of material to build such a huge house. How did you collect so much of material from nature? And how long did it take?
Yeah, thanks. So the actual process of building, the most intense part was like 4 or 5 months, I guess. Then next summer I needed to do some finishing, but in 4 or 5 months it was basically done. But anyhow, the material was I would say a collection of last few years around. So all of the wood is there from the forest, but it's been from different seasons and when the wind breaks some trees. So actually these were all of the trees that normally one would cut and then use either for burning wood or for whatever reasons. So this wood is just around from the forest and being on different piles that I've collected there together. The other materials like this, what is as a mortar element, this cup that I mentioned, it's all from the space. So when I was preparing a space for the house, I digged out this foundation, this soil, and then I reused it back in building like this. Yeah, and then there were like some small, more technical materials that I bought, like plastic cover, and also some of the insulation materials and these things were like second-handed or recycled that I've just got around. And the same is for other elements like windows, doors. These are second-handed, bought on this. We have this BOHA system, so where you can buy second-handed things, or some were gifted from the friends around. So actually it was a process, of just having some materials were already around and then just gathering or seeing what's available either there on the farm or what forest gives us. Basically, it's really like most of the things are just gathered from the place.
So to build such house, you need to be a nature lover. You need to be someone who loves staying a little away from crowd, urban places. You need to learn how to build house. You need to be very good at collection, and so many qualities it takes to build such a house. Thank you so much, Miha, for this presentation, wonderful presentation. And I think it's a wonderful example how each one of us can at least try to make some endeavors towards sustainable environment. Thank you so much for giving glimpses into your life. Thank you, Miha. And I'm requesting all participants and viewers to please type if you have any question in the comment box, or if anybody wants to share anything pertaining to today's session, please go ahead.
So, ma'am, you have your hand raised.
Thank you very much. I mean, I really enjoyed all three of them. I mean, these are really hands-on practical experiences, and it's so good to hear them from people who are actually doing it. Miha, maybe first question for you. How big is the house? And you lived in it now for 2 years. And what would you change if you do it again? And what is the most profound experience that you went through inside yourself while living in this house?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks for the questions. I will just go step by step. I'm just finishing now, already editing the story of a forest house, where I also reflected on the things that I would change. So I didn't go so much in the technical details now, but more maybe I started with the motto, okay, I will try and make it and see if it works, and then do the changes. So I would change something about the inner plaster layer. I would add more cop, so to say, on the inner layers. I closed it with wood now, but in the new design, I would actually use different plaster inside. Yeah, that is more or less it, and maybe something about the insulation. So these are little technical details I wrote already in description. So I would call this is a pilot model that can be for further use upgraded. That's about the changes.
How big is the house? How big is the house altogether?
Sorry?
How big is the currently the house?
Yeah, let's say the floor down, I guess, I didn't measure, but it's around 17, 18 square meters. And then there is attic up where there is like a bedroom, so to say. So house is small, but big enough for the two of us right now.
Mm. So what is the profound change that you went through internally while living in such a place?
I guess I'm more and more realizing what does it mean to be a human, at least for me. Meaning that, let's say, being a part of, I would call a social engineering, and the way how my mind was formed while growing up, there is always this thinking, what does one need to have, or how does the life need to look like? You know, you need to have this, water there, toilet there. Yeah, and then while living there, you actually see, or at least this is my experience, having this simplicity of things actually creates to me much more freedom, you know. Also, I didn't answer this, I mean, talk about this. I still don't have a bathroom in. I had maybe at the beginning idea I would do, but like going on the bathroom outside, and I have also outside the compost toilet, still fascinates me too much, you know, to put it in the house. So these kind of things are to me really valuable to see how less, I would say, of the more established structures do I need, and how much freedom does this way of life give me. That's been probably the biggest impact so far.
Thank you. I have one question also for Sangeeta, if I may, because I'm
okay.
It was mentioned before that you are also a filmmaker. You make documentaries. So could you share with us how much do you see these topics of circular economy and just maybe the future that is much more much closer to the laws of nature? How much do you see it penetrating the documentaries, and how much is it present maybe in your own program or the program of your colleagues?
Recently, I have made films on art and culture, but not exactly on circular economy. But after listening to this seminar, now I have many ideas. You know, I would be quoting all these two other colleagues of ours who are really so passionate about circular economy and reusing things. I would make a film where I would do a little bit more research, and that of course would be about using waste material for creating art. And also I never thought that it can be used in all fields of life, for food. And I got many tips today from this seminar, and I would, as a poet, I would love to have a house like this, where I can stay at least for one day, and write a poem there. So it's beautiful to attend this, and it gives you a wider horizon how things. I have always told my office also that don't, even if you have use the printer on one side, don't throw those papers. Use the other side for rough work. We do a lot of printing work. So I said, either you don't do printing, or if you do, then don't throw those papers, you reuse it. So all these small things. And when I get an invitation card, which is very big enough and very attractive, so sometimes I cut and keep the relevant portion to use it in my artwork. I just can't throw things which can be reused. It has been a habit all throughout my life, but now after attending this, I have become more conscious, and I would definitely make a documentary on this sooner or later. After the COVID situation is in control. It's very bad in Delhi, but of course it needs to be talked about, and it needs to be shared on many platforms, so that people become more conscious about the reusable things. And I've been doing that part, sustainable development, because I said don't use chemicals for colors. We can make the Indian indigo is so charming, so beautiful, so mystic. Let me work with this and propagate this, that we can use colors which are chemical free, and they are also good for the studio. When we are in closed studios and the colors have chemicals, so they really create lot of problems for eyes also, and for breathing also. Many artists suffer with lung problem later. So that also is promoting organic things and organic living. And this is a dream house which needs to be talked about in a documentary. I will reconnect with Rajni and take whatever extracts from here and talk about it, and use some visuals and make a documentary, of course, and share it with you sooner or later.
Super. Let us know about the post impact that this will have on your life and your work. Thank you very much.
Right. And there has also been another question raised on Facebook for you, Sangeeta. And the question is, being an artist, would you recommend regional art or art from waste?
Yes, of course. Why not? Nothing can, when I'm more excited when I can reuse things and create a piece of art, and I always gift my friends, and I always tell them the story behind it, that how this has been created, and they really admire. And my nephew has been demanding that please paint my wine bottles, and we have done a very good job with that, and it is part of his cupboard. So all these things can be art should be made functional, and there's no way that's the best way of showing that things can be reused, recycled. Nothing is a waste. Nature I am very inspired. All artists are and poets are inspired by nature, including me, and we know that how everything is in a auto mode. Everything is recycled and reused, and something which is a waste for one person is useful for the other person. That nature always tells us, and we should propagate this as much as we can in our own way.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta. In fact, we are very glad to hear your views about today's session. And we are definitely looking forward to what you have expressed your desire to make a documentary on it.
I will.
And we are also very glad to know about the kind of impact it is leaving on your heart and mind. And it has kind of propagated that feeling of sustainable lifestyle, recycling and repurposing things in day-to-day life. So we are very, very glad to, because this is what the objective of this webinar is, to make every individual realize the value of sustainability, ecology, and to conserve the environment. This is good for everyone.
I'm glad and I'm thankful to you for giving me this opportunity to hear them out and, you know, be part of this whole program. And I'm going to propagate it in as many ways I can. I will do that.
We truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So Pina, is there anything left to discuss or any question from any viewer or participant that we need to answer before I wrap up?
In the chat room, I think, Alexander, you should raise it directly by yourself.
Sure.
Thank you. I just wanted, my question really, Rajna, I know that you answered it quickly there by answering in typing, but the question I have is, you know, what you see as the common element. You wrote something, but I would like to hear a little bit from you, what you feel is the common element in these three presentations that we saw today, and what makes them all truly circular lifestyles. Rajni, perhaps you could just say a few things from your perspective and elaborate on the comment you put.
Alexander, first of all, thank you so much for this question. In fact, when I was typing my answer, because my brain is divided into various sections of the program, so I couldn't type it properly, but I think in a nutshell, I have written that I feel that all three speakers have immense passion for life, because to have a passion for ecology and environment, I personally believe you should have passion for life first, because you, before saving others' life, you need to think about your life. If you think about your life, then you will be able to preserve the environment and the life of others. So I think the common thread which I saw among all these three presentations is their passion for life, is their of course their creativity, of course their innovation, and the way they are thinking towards environment and thinking new ideas, and they are like very passionate about environment and sustainability issues. So this is one thing. And secondly, I mean, I definitely think that there is a reason why you felt like repeating this question. Can you elaborate the reason behind it?
Because, you know, I mean, we see these wonderful expressions, they kind of capture some aspects of permaculture, which is much more than just a gardening technique, it's a culture of being. And when we're talking about circular economy, it seems to me that we're moving here with circular lifestyles. And there's something about that is more embracive, that includes the circular economy because of a circular lifestyle. And that you've addressed it beautifully, Rajni, but I think that's what I'm interested in. What are the aspects that you see from your perspective as pulling this together in these ways? Of course, I can ask Violetta about this as well, but I was interested in hearing your perspective on that.
Indeed, it's really my pleasure to answer such kind of question. In fact, nobody asked me question. Everybody asked questions, speakers and other people. Nobody asked questions. So I'm very glad you are the first participant who is asking a moderator these questions. So thank you so much, Alexander, for these lovely questions. And I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Rajni, I would also like to, you know, elaborate upon that circular lifestyle. If all individuals, as individuals, we start living in a circular way, not in a linear way where we throw things. Use and throw culture should be given up completely. And, you know, having a vegan lifestyle also is part of the sustainable development, where we are not destroying anything, not destroying other lives. So that kind of circular lifestyle, if it happens amongst the individuals, and if we bring the change in our own small way, there'll be a big change. This is a change of mindset,
which is more important than anything else. People may propagate theories that this is linear economy and now this is circular economy. Till we inculcate those values, good values in our own lives, nothing will change. But I'm glad that there are so many other people who are thinking on the same line and using everything which is usable and thinking new ways of using things.
Yeah.
So,
thank you so much, Sangeeta ji.
circular lifestyle, this word has come from Alexander, and hats off to him that he's not talking about the broader things. He's saying that circular lifestyle amongst these three speakers. So I'm glad for coining this word, which has come from Alexander. Thank you so much.
He has coined one question, and it would be great if you could answer that question. Because he has used one terminology, ahimsa. So, Pina, can you please read out that question?
I will answer that.
Okay, you can also see that. Yeah.
No, I can't see that. Tell me the question. Can you read that?
So the question is, does a circular lifestyle and mindset imply ahimsa?
Yes, in a big way, because we value everything. Violence or ahimsa is not, non-violence is not only towards living beings, towards all tangible and intangible things. If I can value this tin and make it convert it into a painting, this is also a very soft approach, which is non-violent. You know, when we throw things, we are violent. You know, we discard the value of that particular thing. So yes, of course, this will relate to ahimsa and non-violence in a big way.
Yeah, certainly. So
Ranji, I'd like to point out one more thing that I kind of felt through this presentations is, and Vojtech, even though he's no longer with us here, but he had that in mind, Miha also stressed it very clearly, is this sincere attempt to develop a direct connection with food, with trees, with nature, with life. Yeah, and trying to discover along the way what that actually is. That's what first I picked up, to really discover what food is all about and not waste it, but to have this respectful attitude towards it. And then with Miha constantly saying that, you know, he feels life, he feels real in the connection with nature, to follow the laws of nature. And I could see it with Sangeeta as well, because she's really trying to reuse and go back to something that is not harmful to people, that is now it's based on the natural substances. So it's so good to feel that, because we are seeking, I hope, you know, we are sincerely trying to seek a reconnection with the laws of nature. Because on the other hand, we have this transhumanism, which is pushing us towards the technology solutions, and everything will be about technology. But it's so good to hear that we have younger and older people thinking about reconnection with life itself in its essence, and learning from this incredible intelligence, as it's a natural intelligence.
Indeed, true. So as they say, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. And watch your actions, they become your habits. And inculcating eco-friendly habits is extremely crucial for sustainability. And I think this has been the purpose of today's session, that how each individual can inculcate these practices into day-to-day life. And we thoroughly enjoyed with all three wonderful speakers, including wonderful participants with us. With this, we come to the end of our session. Thank you all speakers for bringing your expertise, your great experiences through this session, and making this session so interactive, so relatable, and so worthwhile. We also thank our participants for their active participation, interest, and their time. And we are coming up with yet another exciting webinar on May 10th. So save the date. Please keep visiting www.ecocivilisation.eu for further events and their details. Thank you again for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Till then, take care and bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Sangeeta ji.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Miha.
Nice interacting with everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.